In the United States, the biggest influence on one's ability to get a job is who they know, where they've worked, or a college degree. In many ways, these can help validate one's ability to do the job, but they also highlight how privilege controls access to opportunity. Children of the wealthiest 20% in this country have a 77% likelihood of graduating from college. If you're sitting here in this room, you go to an institution where the average parent makes $180K, the average student's parents are in the top 7%, and you have a 94% chance of graduating from college. The children of the poorest 20% in this country have a 9% chance of graduating from college. It's crazy. 94%, 77%, and 9% correlated by the socioeconomic status of one's parents. One of the things that drives education is employment. A college degree is not necessary for many jobs. What is critical and necessary is motivation, the ability to learn new things, the ability to work with other people. I'm going to share a video here with you about one woman from St. Louis, Missouri, who couldn't afford to go to college, but ultimately got the skills to do a job anyway. Here you go.
Let me wrap up with just the example of one person, a woman named LaShawna Lewis. Where's LaShawna? She's here today.
For many, many years, I've been coding, and one of that I ended up doing was getting kind of shoved into customer service for like 10 years. But let's roll back the clock.
Now, the reason LaShawna's story is so relevant is LaShawna grew up in East St. Louis.
I spent 18 years of my life there. I went to high school and I approached the computer science teacher and I said, I want to go in and I want to learn how to program. And he said, okay, take a seat. He encouraged me, my mother and my family encouraged me, and I just decided to go into college as a computer science major. And I ended up having to leave. And it was kind of a very depressing part for me.
And because she didn't have a college degree, she couldn't even get an interview for a tech job, despite her coding skills. So she was working as a bus driver, and she was working in entry-level jobs.
I never really fully got a chance to go into technology like I wanted to.
LaShawna had the skills, and today she's a system engineer at MasterCard.
It changed my life. I have an opportunity that I wouldn't think for years that I'd be able to get.
So we got to create more stories like LaShawna's. And if we do, then we are going to more effectively capture what is the boundless energy and talent of Americans who have the will, but sometimes need a little help clearing out the way.
I started off as an apprentice, and now I have a full-time job at MasterCard.
Why did I show you that video? I showed you that video because it hits on everything I want to talk about here today. Economic opportunity, upward mobility, and social change. President Obama said, if you can do the job, you should get the job. But that's not true, not the case for far too many people in this country. There's 9 million Americans who are actively looking for work and unable to find it. There's millions more, like LaShawna, who are stuck in cycles of low-wage job after low-wage job. Each and every one of us knows someone who's talented, smart, great to work with, but who ultimately struggles to get access to the opportunity to help them realize their full potential. One such person that I want to tell you about here is Terrence Bowen. Meet Terrence. Terrence is also from St. Louis, Missouri. He graduated from high school, but he didn't graduate from college. He went to work at FedEx Kinko's, and he worked there for 10 years. It wasn't his dream job, but he was grateful for it, and it was the job he could get. His true passion was computer programming. At night, Terrence would go home and teach himself how to code. And in the morning, he was jazzed. He would go into a job that didn't demand that much of him, and he'd think, how can I improve? Think, how can I be faster? How can I be better? How can I be more efficient? And is Terrence the kind of person Is Terrence hardworking? Is Terrence the kind of person you would consider hiring for his dream job? Yeah. Terrence is worth hiring because he taught himself how to code at night while working a full-time job. He would be a great addition to any development team. And yet he couldn't get the job that he wanted. And like so many, he was hardworking, had the skills, and found himself on the outside looking in. Earlier on, we talked briefly about educational attainment. Access to education is one of the greatest barriers we face all around the world. And this is one way in which the internet is truly changing everything. An example of this comes out of Harvard University. So Harvard took their Introduction to Computer Science course, CS50, they put it online. 200,000 people are currently taking this course all around the world. They're taking it in 63 different spoken languages. It's a free class, free world-class education out of Harvard. It's a game changer. And what's crazy about it is that for people who finish this class, they may not find themselves in a better position to get a job than if they had ever taken that class. And that's because ultimately the system is broken. Hiring is broken. You know this because 40% of people get jobs because of who they know and through a direct connection. So who you know matters. And where you went to school and how you learned matters too. 94% of all jobs in IT require a bachelor's degree. Ultimately, the system's broken and there's too many people who get the skills to do the job but struggle to get the opportunity. So what do we do about it? What can we do about it? What I want to try to talk about. One thing that I've tried to do is through this organization, LaunchCode. What we've done is we've removed the resume and the who you know factor from one's ability to get a job, and we say that if we think you might be able to do the job, we give you that opportunity to try it out. Because it's our belief that if you love it and you can get the skills, then you're going to crush it. No credential required. But how do you remove the resume or the college degree or the superficial credentials that make it easy to filter people through? Well, you get down to those first principles. You get down to things where you say, hey, we're looking for driven people. We're looking for people who can learn new things. Okay, if someone went and took CS50 online, this Harvard class, and they took it and did it on their own, this incredibly tough class, and they finished it, hey, that person's driven. That person can teach themselves new things. If someone can build an app or a technical product in an employable language, they not only have the skills to do the job, but they have the skills that turn into results. If you meet someone and you talk to them, and whether it's in a retail job or their family environment, they've deftly dealt with complex interpersonal situations. They can describe to you how they engage with those. That's the kind of person you want working in your office. So there's different ways that we can look and see that people, based on their actions and the way that they approach the context in which they find themselves, have been able to do well, but may still not have access to that opportunity. So we started LaunchCode with the idea of trying to create a skills-based pathway to hiring. Goal being that we could create a pathway to economic opportunity and upward mobility through apprenticeships and job placement in IT. Started 2 years ago, it was just an experiment. Today we have 250 people, many of them from right here in St. Louis, who've gotten apprenticeships in IT. 90% of those have resulted in permanent full-time employment. The typical pay for someone coming out of them is $50K. That's $33K more than they made before they came in. So $17K, average apprenticeship lasts for 3 months, and then they make $50K. And $17K to $50K, and the sole change is just that they were given access to opportunity that they could do all along. Cool. But it's also small, right? I mean, this is a massive problem. And so, yeah, we got to grow the organization, but we got to grow how we engage with these inequalities. We got to grow how we engage with the 77% and the 9%, how we make the 9% more like 77%. But we also need to really make sure we're focusing on pathways to opportunity. Because if we don't, we will likely never see the change we want to see. Because we need to make sure, as President Obama said, that if you can do the job, you can get the job. Thanks.